Good evening, everybody. I wish I could have said I'm late for a good reason, but I'm not. I have had a truly full week. Like I can think of very few cases where I've worked this intensely at my current employer. And then basically the day after the big thing I've been working on started, the local transit system, like Ottawa's transit is so bad that basically when it rains, the light rail stops working. And not only that, it has actually been out since I think Tuesday or Wednesday. It took me 3 hours to get to work one day. And the truly astonishing part for today, they have a replacement service known as the R1. I took an R1 to get home to do the stream, and somewhere along the way, they changed the number, didn't tell anyone, right? Just changed it to another route, despite being an R1 at the start. And I like realized this just in time, like to get off at one of the stations. I was like, okay, well, I was gonna go a bit further, but I can. They've said that this station is open. I confirmed this on the website. I get to the station, and it's barred. There is a sign outside saying, if you are heading to like where I live, take the train. And quite literally behind that sign, there is a shut gate. And now it's taken me 90 minutes to walk home in the snow. I checked the site and they've finally updated the sign. It is a true clown show. Like, effectively, if you, I guess, if it's a like bright and sunny day, you can hope to be about a half hour late, and everything else you are rolling the dice as to whether or not you are even going to get to your destination. I really thought I'd seen it all. So anyways, this is why I come to you belatedly. I've got some coffee in front of me. We will be doing some Cyberpunk tonight. Hey, how you doing, Schmendels? Um, hopefully you are. What the hell is going on here? Hopefully that is only metaphorical. This is so odd. The version of Cyberpunk it's loading for me is not. It's like telling me to sign in from the browser, which I don't mind doing. Did something inspire this? I wonder what happens if I just hit play. I haven't had a real dinner tonight, unfortunately, so. Alright, that's fair. So the big question I have here is, if it's not logging me in properly, is it gonna... No, I seem to be... I am gonna just try a quick thing here to see if it will properly cloud save. It will not. That does worry me a little bit. Okay. You can just give me a second here. I'm going to exit GOG I'm gonna see if I can get the proper sign in. That's actually fun. I'm in the same boat. My microwave broke though. I don't have a really good excuse. Um, sorry, gotta get my password again. I'll be sure to say it out loud for everyone. Okay. Well, that's not promising. Oh dear. I haven't played Turnip Boy yet for the simple reason that I have, other than playing games on stream, I have not had any time to do anything but like work. So I'm definitely interested in it, but I think the reality of my day to day is going to be, let's see. I suspect probably for the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be like streaming and working and occasionally sleeping. No. So there's like a 12 gigabyte update to something, and I'm like, that's not something I want to do on stream. Oh, for heaven's sake, come on, guys. Yeah, I'm getting, there's some weirdness that I'm getting both in terms of my, my GOG preferences, but also my, my cloud saves. Like it's not apparently updating the cloud saves, and it's giving me a sign-in that suggests that I do not have Phantom Liberty, which I very obviously do. Now, fortunately, it's not affecting the... Like, it's clearly not affecting the thing I've got installed, but... Eat, sleep, play video games, and as well. Yeah, I mean, I have so much stuff I just want to read. I got the game on GOG. Like, it's in fact they like gave me a copy of it like for as a press key. Like, it's obviously that was back when both you know, Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty were new, so you know, it's clearly at this point I'm playing it for enjoyment, but I don't like scavs. Anyways, we're in the game. So the original plan was going to be to move on to the final mission, but I don't actually know. Like, it feels like some of the rogue stuff hasn't been resolved yet. So I'm going to at least drive into town So the 11 left by... Sorry, I don't know what 11 left means, but... Oh, ravioli. Sorry, I get it. Yeah, so the scavengers in this case are basically people who will steal cyberware from their victims. So, in that case, I don't feel as bad taking them out. I'm sure they all have good reasons for doing what they do, but... Oops. Yeah, so the idea, I mean, this is one of the things that's interesting about this setting, is that it, like a lot of interesting science fiction, it sort of asks what the, what some of the effects of the, the advances in technology are. And in this case, one of the unfortunate side effects of having these kind of these machine parts that you can integrate into your body is that it's created a black market for these parts, and sort of this class of people who will find sort of unsuspecting victims with desirable cyberware, who will effectively kidnap them and harvest them for those parts. And then, of course, they'll sell it at a profit. It's like any kind of stolen good, just because you've integrated the technology into your body. It's, yeah, basically. I mean, there's definitely sort of a Neuralink kind of equivalent. I mean, effectively, every time I hit tab and I have this interface. Attention all NCPD subcons. APB out for suspected organized crime activity on Skyline South. Primary target is Denzel Cryer, aka The Brain. Cryer leads a subgroup of the so-called Animals Gang, known to traffic the illegal supplement commonly called Juice. City's got a reward on offer for neutralizing Cryer and his entourage. Does it show me where... I mean, I'd like to follow up on it, but not at the expense of like running all over the city for it. Yeah, the 2077 in the title is the year that it takes place in. So the source material, if I recall correctly, is an old role-playing game called Cyberpunk 2020, and I believe it came out roughly around the same time as like Neuromancer and Blade Runner. And so far as I can tell, all of these products were like there was something in the air. There were definitely a few common references, but apparently none of these were directly inspired by each other. They all sort of seemed to, like they were aware when they came out, but like as far as I can tell, people were already working on these various projects, and then, clearly they all did not come out simultaneously, but I think the idea here was more that there's like, okay, yeah, there's people doing something kind of along the lines of what I'm doing, and maybe they accented it or something like that. I don't know exactly what the but yeah, so in any case, the name of the game was Cyberpunk 2020, and of course 2020 is like half a decade away now, right? That is definitely not the future. And it is kind of interesting when you take a look at this game, because one of the big things that you don't really see any of the Cyberpunk stories deal with. I guess maybe Blade Runner doesn't really address what happened to the Cold War, but at least in the case of Neuromancer and Cyberpunk 2020, they could not conceive of a future where the Soviet Union ceased to be an entity. And so Sovoil is a thing in this world. And, in the case of Neuromancer, the Soviet Union is still a viable political entity. So In the case of Cyberpunk 2077, there is an updated one. So currently, Cyberpunk is the tabletop RPG is called Cyberpunk Red, and I believe it takes place slightly earlier in the timeline than the events of this game, which is 2077. But effectively, Cyberpunk Red follows some major developments in the setting, and then Cyberpunk 2077 is quite advanced in the timeline, sort of dealing with the, I guess the furtherance of the timeline. But one of the interesting things, I do like that this game also addresses it. So one of the things that that the setting does establish in some of its like text elements would be this idea that you are like the luxury in Cyberpunk 2077. The standard of living has not necessarily improved. So, there's this weird idea, right? Like people like you and I'm going to just assume that all of you are not like sort of independently wealthy or like very high upper class individuals. This is a stream for scum. But like, the idea here is that just through productivity gains, through globalization, a number of different features, some of which is critiqued in Cyberpunk, right? But like we can rely on having like the kind of meal that someone like Louis XIV could not imagine, right? Like a higher quality meal than what someone like Louis XIV would enjoy, and at considerably less cost. Now, of course, none of us think of that, right? When we're, I'm complaining about transit when, of course, this kind of transit would be inconceivable in, kind of the era that that I'm describing. But of course, we don't think of it that way. We think of it relative to our peers. 250 in one of your, yeah. So there you go. Like, I don't think any of us here consider ourselves particularly well off, and yet, of course, on a historical perspective, some of the things that we consider commonplace would be luxuries. And of course, I'm not trying to. One thing I'm not trying to get out of this is to say it's like, so you should all be grateful, right? That's definitely not where that argument is going. But one of the things that is revealed in this log is that because of this very high concentration of wealth and power in some very, very strong, I don't know if I could say very strong monopolies, because of course the definition of monopoly is not a plural, but clearly this very concentrated market power among a few incredibly powerful firms has not led to an increase in prosperity or wealth. That the standard of living that even the upper class in this setting has may not necessarily be something that you and I would consider to be an improvement. And it's hard, right? Because you see all of this like high tech stuff around, but on the other hand, you see like a pretty high cost for a bottle of water, right? Like clean water, clean air are not to be taken for granted. That if you are a very, high-class member of society, you have to sort of pay for private security. Or alternatively, you work for an employer that's providing that, high level of security, but that doesn't give you job mobility. And more importantly, the level of uncertainty that's created by working for one of these mega corporations comes from, you do not have that level of flexibility in terms of your job, right? You have, you're probably going to stick to a certain corporation. That means, of course, that you don't have a certain amount of market power in terms of taking your talent elsewhere, right? It's not a free labor market either. And more importantly, as you learn in the corporate role, right? I'm playing one of the corporate characters. If your sort of roof, if your protector in the corporation is on the outs, right? If they lose a power play, then the consequence might be that you're out of the corporation. You don't have a job anymore. All that cyberware you relied on is disabled. And so as a consequence, right, you need to discount your lifestyle with the possibility that it could all go away with a couple of events outside of your control. Something that is sort of true today. But the thing is that, we even in like the current like low hire, low fire environment, there's definitely uncertainty in certain jobs, but there isn't quite this level of, you lose everything and the possibility of you getting back in to the kind of job that creates that, lifestyle that you had. Like, that's not necessarily just a matter of time. Like, that's you may never get back kind of question. Yeah, it's definitely like it's a dystopia, but it's a dystopia that's presented as sort of this almost libertarian playground. And so there is definitely a critique that's being made. I think most people would argue that this is a dystopia, but it is the kind of dystopia that, like, it's more Brave New World than 1984. Like 1984, you can make a really big deal about the boot stepping on a human face forever. Whereas like a Brave New World, you could see some people looking at that and saying that that's not such a bad way to go. But even like there's some really basic things that I would say in terms of this society, like the mere idea that the police have been privatized. I would not wish for a world like, this is one of the things, right? Like, I understand, particularly in the local game dev collective, like there are a lot of people who are, very set on their, very left-wing politics, the idea that sort of we live in an irredeemable society that, requires a complete revolution to, there's some sort of, there we go. I don't want to get too far into that particular argument. I'm certainly not going to suggest that these are not like these are opinions that these people can't have. But it is difficult for me in some cases to see these as particularly serious, or at the very least have seriously considered the idea that things can actually get worse than they are right now. Religion is there's actually multiple references of religion. So Buddhists do not like the idea of cyberware. They see that as essentially embodying your possessions, and so counter to the ideal. So there's a number of different documents that actually talk about how various religions react to the idea of cyberware and AI and such. And of course, the thing here is that this is a video game, right? So the tabletop RPG setting is considerably more elaborate. I'm gonna take a chance. Okay. Oh, that's not gonna work. I could theoretically bounce off the wall and hit one of them, but... God, I can't aim. Definitely. I mean, this was made very much in collaboration with the original designer of the RPG, Mike Pondsmith. And yeah, I mean, it's I definitely do not want to deny CD Projekt Red their I don't want to deny them their innovation on this, but yeah, this is definitely a fully realized world. And you mentioned like only taking time, like sleep, eat, and maximize time of video games. One of the things that I find is that like the marginal half hour, if that, right? For something like TV or games, like it is so much easier to spend another 15 minutes, half an hour on a video game. You just like the time flies by and you don't even really think about it. And then, even like a TV show, like at least for those, they have sort of well-defined endings. So, like I've enjoyed, I haven't seen the third season yet, but I did enjoy the Apple TV Plus series Tehran, which presumably is going to, I suspect the fourth season that is currently filming has been complicated somewhat by current events, but it's quite good at giving you a bit of a cliffhanger to end on. And so that was one where I definitely found like I would sit down to do one episode and I find myself, doing 3 of them, let's say. So what I tend to find is that like the marginal hour or so for a video game, for a TV show, something that's not necessarily passive, but it can be easier to like sort of turn your brain off and not necessarily engage deeply. I find for interactive media, it's the easiest. For something like a TV show, which isn't necessarily interactive, it's still very easy to give up that time. And one of the things that, of course, like one of my favorite games is Civilization, which, is notorious for its just one more turn effect. But I really, really do value reading. And so this is a podcast that everybody recommends. And like, I actually think for good reason. Like I've enjoyed what I've heard of it, but like I'm a little contrarian sometimes. So like when everybody recommends something to me, I sometimes feel like I'm going to get disappointed by it. But Conversations with Tyler, pretty famous economist Tyler Cowen, who is somewhat known for his very, very broad reading and understanding of topics. And like I happen to like that. I'm not even going to even remotely suggest that I am in any kind of league with Tyler Cowen. Not only is he professionally more successful than me, but as an influencer, as a broadcaster, he is considerably more successful than me. But I see a similar interest in a broad number of topics, even if I suspect he and I would have very different opinions on things. But there was an interview with I think it's Henry Oliver. Let me just actually find that episode. And a lot of it was a discussion of literature, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me just see here. Henry Oliver. So the first part of the conversation was about the Shakespeare play Measure for Measure. But there was a lot of sort of, how do I put this? Like, it was discussions of literature, so mentions of Jonathan Swift, who is sort of a deep and abiding favorite of mine. It's just I wouldn't say there was like a perfect alignment with the guests' tastes in books, but there's so for instance, he mentioned that he wasn't as well read on science fiction. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm particularly well read on science fiction, but like, I really like Philip K. Dick. I probably one of my favorites from his is The Man in the High Castle, but A Scanner Darkly is wonderful. We talked about Blade Runner. Obviously, he wrote the book that Blade Runner is sort of a loose adaptation for Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Ubik. And I mean, his short stories, right? We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, Minority Report, lots of movies that have been adapted into movies. What is my book taste? Oh, genre. Yeah. So I do like science fiction, but not exclusive. I mean, like, and the other thing too, for like, if you want cyberpunk sort of stuff, right? Neil Stephenson did Snow Crash. But I also like, I truly love, Cryptonomicon and the Baroque Cycle. So the Baroque Cycle you could probably count as science fiction, but it does take place in sort of like during the Glorious Revolution. So, like Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz are like characters in that book. So yeah, it's science fiction, but I think most people's idea of science fiction is not, probably does not involve the past. Love Project Hail Mary. I would really like to, yeah. So this is the thing, right? Like I've not read or seen Project Hail Mary, and I always feel quite bad when people say, I know it's pretty basic and things like that. It's like, no, I don't feel that people ever need to, like, I don't feel like people need to hedge or sort of defend their tastes for these things. I'd actually really like to read some of Andy Weir's stuff because it seems to have been really well received, and I know there are some strong opinions about like whether or not soft science fiction is real science fiction or not, right? So like Philip K. Dick is hard to see as hard science fiction, and there are some people who really feel that science fiction should be limited to stuff that is actually scientifically possible, which I think is a little bit more in the spirit that Andy Weir is writing in. And I think there is something really impressive about someone who is able to write hard science fiction that also gets that level of like popular attention. So for example, back to Neil Stephenson, like I remember reading Anathem. And you'd recommend Artemis? Okay, good. Like I'm definitely looking for more recommendations. There's so many books that I need to read, but I'm particularly looking to do more fiction because I feel that there's always going to be an argument that reading something nonfiction is like important, but fiction is important too. And if you for the same reason that I criticize people that only read like young adult novels, it is the same criticism I level to myself for not reading enough fiction. Like it really is about reading broadly, and you do need to be discerning because there's just like you will never be able to read all the books in your lifetime, even if you dedicated yourself to that. And as much as I enjoy, as much as I enjoy books, I don't know if I could say that a book like an entirely dedicated to a book's life would be satisfying for me. But yeah, I do value breadth quite a bit. Audiobooks, it's funny actually. So where I can, prefer reading on the printed page, and it's something that I want to defend the time for. I do tend to find that if I listen to a book, I am going to react to it differently, and I'm going to be very tempted to try and do something else, which all of a sudden means that I'm not quote unquote reading the book. So for me, I do see it as something different. However, Audible Frontiers has a wonderful version of the Baroque cycle, which is like it is narrated. They do have multiple narrators for like the male and female parts. It is as close as you can get. It is so well read that it is about as close as you can get to an audio play, while it's still actually being a faithful reading of the book. So I don't want to say that I don't read audiobooks, but for the most part, my preference is very much to printed words. And I will say too, when you ask my preference, it's not even necessarily science fiction. I do tend to like older books, and I think that's probably just because time is this wonderful sort of weighing machine. There's a play by Aristophanes that I reference a lot called The Frogs. And the premise, I actually think as a plot, this is actually just a pretty good idea anyway. So it takes place during one of the wars that Athens is involved in. And the city is feeling quite weary after this extended period of war. Dionysus has to go and bring back from Hades a playwright to sort of rally the morale of Athens. And so he goes down, and he has to decide between Aeschylus, right, sort of the first of the great tragedians of ancient, of the ancient Greek world, and then Euripides, who is sort of this representation of the new, sort of this new style. It is actually a very conservative play, right? It's very much a play which is about like the old ways are best. And there's what's effectively a rap battle between Aeschylus and Euripides. And the end of the play, like it's a tie the whole way through. Dionysus can't decide which of these two playwrights to bring back, and of course, it now is not just about raising the spirits of Athens in its time of need, but it's a test between the old and new. What is the greater form of poetry? And so at the end, the two playwrights have to speak lines into a scale, and the weightier, the heavier of the two is the one that determines it. So Aeschylus, gives these lines from his plays, which tips the scales, and he wins the contest. And actually, Sophocles died apparently during the writing of the play, or maybe during the performance. So there apparently is an edition which says he declares that Sophocles should take his place. Which, incidentally, Sophocles is my favorite. I actually prefer Oedipus at Colonus rather than Oedipus the King, but. I remember reading it on. It's like one of the most vivid memories I have of reading literature. I was reading it on the light rail in Vancouver, and just like, especially getting to the end and just really feeling like something deep down inside me shift. It was a sort of thing that really struck me in a way that few pieces of literature have. And I very often feel that with the classics. Like Ovid's Metamorphoses is another one where it like pushed out the frontier of what I thought was possible with words. And it's funny because I really do I really do actually like English literature, and like clearly like Ovid is writing in Latin, Sophocles is writing in ancient Greek. I'm only ever appreciating these in translation. Robert Fagles for Sophocles and Charles Martin for Ovid. But yeah. Anyways, there is. I think some of my preferences for some of the older things are that time sort of serves the same purpose as those scales in the frogs, and as a result, I don't necessarily. I sort of lose some of the noise or the variance of sort of popular taste, and the enduring works tend to be transmitted down to me. Although, again, I am trying to read more contemporary stuff. So when you say you listen to audiobooks more and have been told it's not actual reading a lot more, but I used to struggle with books a lot, and audiobooks made you feel like I wasn't getting left out because of your skills. Yes, this is a tricky one for me, Schmentel. So there is a reason. I'm kind of glad that you brought this up, but I'm always a little cautious to volunteer this opinion because I think this is often taken the wrong way. I do not like people who say audiobooks are not real reading, because I think there is a kernel of truth in what they're saying. I don't like the term real reading. And I think the problem is that I do not want people to feel like they are doing a lesser kind of reading, or that people are not allowed to like the things that they like. But for me, one of the reasons why I hold back from audiobooks, or at the very least, I entertain the criticism of audiobooks, would be that if I have a few math textbooks, they're just on the bookshelf beside me. And I think for myself, I would fairly say, that if I were to sit down and listen to an audiobook of that mathematics textbook, I would react to it very differently. Math textbooks are not particularly easy to get through. It would not be for some of them. Like if you're spending less than an hour on a page, you're reading it wrong, right? Those are maybe some of the more, advanced ones, rather than like, I'm obviously not talking about like a grade 10 trigonometry text or something like that. But, and the specific thing about that is that, Euclid sort of has this famous anecdote. So apparently Ptolemy was asking him for, can you make this any easier? And apparently the reply from Euclid is there's no royal road to geometry. I'm pretty sure it's Euclid. Anyways, right, like there's, everyone who wants to understand mathematics needs to struggle with the same concepts and have them sort of become embodied in them as knowledge. And there's no like way you can like pay to make that easier. You do have to earn that understanding yourself. And so as a consequence, for me, when I think of mathematics, it's like, well, why would I read it differently with an audiobook? And there's a very simple reason for that, is that an audiobook has a certain pace at which it's being read. And so if that pace is faster than my understanding, then I'm going to miss parts of the math text. And if there are parts that, the reading is slower than I'm interpreting, then I'm potentially going to get distracted or feel off. So in that case, for me, sitting down with the printed word is quite beneficial because I can vary the speed at, based on my understanding. Now, the fact of the matter is there are also other features of mathematics textbooks that, don't translate well to audio. So for instance, the integral symbol, right? That long looking S means something. And sure, I mean, you can say integral, x squared dx, whatever, and then you'll be like, I guess that one is like the antiderivative is is it x cubed divided by 3 or something like that? Sorry, I don't remember what I originally said. It's probably like x squared. Anyway, whatever it's supposed to be. I should be able to do that, but I wasn't actually thinking of trying to solve that when I was just throwing stuff out there. But like, that's not a particularly hard line, but you can already see, right? You're assuming a few concepts are known, and if you don't know any of those ones, you don't get to stop and scan into the book in terms of the other parts. And so as a consequence, and then the last thing, right, when you say you don't want to feel left out because of your skills, I think that is like a perfectly reasonable reason to want to listen to an audiobook. And the only thing I would say is that I would personally advocate, as much as possible at least, to have a balance. So if you find that your reading, and specifically, appreciation of the printed word, if you feel that there is something that is holding you back from being able to enjoy the things that you want to, what I would encourage you is to don't give up on yourself, and to find something that's a little bit past your reach, not impossible, but something a little bit past your reach, and to give it a shot. And the reason I say this is that I'm trying to learn French, and Duolingo's not cutting it, right? I can't do Duolingo on its own. Now, I think it's fair to say, based off this conversation, that there are a lot of things that I would like to read in French that are completely beyond my capability, right? I'm not going to be able to read the Bourbaki group, I probably couldn't read it in English, frankly, but like that is I'm gonna struggle if I read that in French. I would love to read Victor Hugo in the original. That is going to be very challenging to read. I would argue that even reading a newspaper, right? So I have a background in economics. If I want to try and read, let's say, the business section of a good newspaper, like Le Monde is a well-regarded newspaper. There's an English edition, which, I can read. But realistically, if I aspire to read French, maybe I should aspire to read a newspaper. And the fact of the matter is that I will actually probably struggle to read the sort of material that I want to read inside of it. So as a consequence, right, I know that I will get better if I give myself, so if I try to read, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, or I mean, even Jules Verne, frankly, right? Like more science fiction, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. If I try and read that right now, I think I'm just going to get frustrated. But I want to make sure I am doing more than just a Duolingo lesson, because one of these things is going to start pushing me towards a better understanding of French, and one of those things starts putting me on the path towards being able to read the sort of ambitious things that I want. And it brings me back to Neil Stephenson, which was Anathem. And it actually had occurred to me, it had been a while since I read sort of like a dense piece of fiction. And I did actually find Anthem a bit challenging, but it was like pleasantly challenging. Um, and so I don't know. Like in the end, I would have to say, Schmendels, it does depend on sort of what. I mean, we all have finite time, right? So whether or not reading is a sort of ambition, or bringing your like printed reading up to a level that's equal to your appreciation of the audiobooks. I think in the end, the biggest question on that is if that's something you aspire to. But I do think that there is a lot of value in pursuing that if you do think it's worth it. And one of the reasons for me saying that actually brings me back to a Cyberpunk reference. So Jordan Weisman is one of the founders of a company called FASA. FASA is basically owned by Microsoft now, but Microsoft licenses out the properties to a few different people. So FASA made a game called BattleTech, which is quite well known, pretty fun. It's a tabletop game, role-playing game, series of novels, television show, virtual reality center. I think basically it has every form of media except a motion, like a feature film. And then the other really well-known one that they did is Shadowrun. There's also like Earth Dawn and Crimson Skies and things like that. And honestly, every single one of those has quite devoted fans. But Shadowrun's another one where it's sort of this combination of cyberpunk and fantasy. Now, what I didn't appreciate was that apparently Jordan Weisman's dyslexic. So to him, like reading like hurt. And one of the things that really unlocked his interests and his effort to read was he played Dungeons and Dragons, and apparently with like the people who invented Dungeons and Dragons, like had his first session was an actual, like they went to go buy the books, and they took him down to the basement. They had a little setup going, and they got a Dungeons and Dragons session from the people who made it. And he was utterly captivated. And so the desire to be able to create these worlds and have that role-playing experience, that drive was what got him through the struggle to read the words. And I love that, because the thing is that nobody's going to sit around. It's exactly like what you said about Project Hail Mary, right? How many, especially the people who would tell you should feel bad for reading audiobooks, or that's maybe not that you should feel bad, but that like audiobooks are not real reading. Like, how many of those people are going to turn around and say, role-playing source books, that's not real reading? And yet someone who has become a serial entrepreneur, somebody who builds up, I have never heard anything other than very, very positive words about Jordan Weisman and his mentorship and his ability to make businesses and his ability to entertain. So I can think of, at least in terms of companies, so I enjoy the FASA stuff. Apparently he did, it's not Unit 42, that's like a cybersecurity company, but it was 42 Entertainment. Anyways, they did like alternate reality games. So they did like one for Halo, they did one for 9 Inch Nails when they did their like Year Zero concept album. I think they did one for the Steven Spielberg movie AI. And then he did Harebrained Schemes, which made an adaptation of Shadowrun, and also did an adaptation of BattleTech. And then they were bought by Paradox and shut down. But yeah, I mean, like, this is someone who, if the kinds of critics who say, oh, that's not real reading, were listened to, almost certainly he would not have pursued something that I think put him onto a path to creating some very interesting projects. And so this is, I guess, in a very long sense, like one of the ways that I want to acknowledge, like, if I had a large amount of time, and I guess this was maybe be like a psychology study or that, I actually would be kind of interested in going into an academic environment and setting up like a properly controlled trial and see what are the effects of reading, like in terms of learning, in terms of comprehension of the material, the ability to recall it and apply it, the appreciation of other material, and, you know, to control for things like, if it is more distracting, is it because people are doing other things? So if somebody sits in a room and only focuses on the audiobook, is it, you know, is there a difference between that and reading on the printed page? And, you know, Schmendel's is, as you say, like, if you are at a point where you feel like you're not, you know, your reading ability is not equal to your comprehension for an audiobook, you know, is the audiobook actually a way of overcoming that? You know, to me, I would really, really like to see a good study on that, because it actually seems like there's a lot of anecdotes about it, but I admittedly haven't looked very long. I don't know the psychology literature all that well. But so far as I can tell, I have not actually seen a sustained study on, like you know, you sit down and you read a work, and you sit down and you listen to an audiobook, and specifically disentangling the effects between the two. There's a side of me that says that they are two different things, and again, it's largely informed by that mathematics example. But just difference does not necessarily mean one is better than the other. I have a preference, but I don't think my preference should be. I don't think I mean I have some pretty good knowledge that none of my preferences generalize to the larger population. So maybe not, but I do have some normie opinions on other things. But I don't know. That was obviously a long rant, and I hope you don't feel like I was too unfair to audiobooks, because I think one of the most important things out of that is to highlight the difference, but specifically to highlight the difference in a constructive way that lets people be ambitious about what they engage with. But yeah, I mean, in the end, this comes back to the conversations with Tyler things. But one of the things that I really appreciated about it was just listening to that conversation of literature and appreciating that I was not lost. I hadn't read everything that was discussed, but in fact, it was stuff that I liked, and there were tastes that were very similar to mine. And there was an appreciation, particularly of Jonathan Swift, who is one who I really enjoy. And it, you know, I really felt that Swift was given his due. And more importantly, there were some things like Paradise Lost was considered underrated. And I agree. I do not feel that is read and appreciated enough. Bleak House, another one. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. And it reminded me about why I do guard that reading time quite jealously, because in the end, the marginal cost of trying to read that extra hour, like, you do need to make yourself do it sometimes, and it is so much easier to get that extra hour in a video game without even thinking about it. So even in conversation, right? Like I can get another half hour to conversation easily. I think this stream is a good example of that, just because it's an easy thing to kind of roll into the next one. But in some cases, like I fully appreciate when people say that reading feels like effort. So but the good news is that, you know, I think everybody can at least relate at some point in their life, even if they feel like they've lost it. And I think the good news is that it is something that you can get back. But I think everybody has at least some idea of losing themselves in a good book. And if you haven't had that experience, I think, you know, it's something worth chasing. I think sometimes you need to find like your thing. It could be The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or like Terry Pratchett. It could be, you know, George Orwell, right? 1984, Animal Farm. You know, maybe it's some of the old mythology stuff. So maybe like Ovid is your jam. You know, obviously I'm kind of talking my own book here. These are all things I really enjoy. But I think, I mean, maybe, you know, even some like really basics, like, you know, Encyclopedia Brown. Listen, if you get lost in Encyclopedia Brown, that's a wonderful feeling, right? Getting lost in a book, to me, that's the thing that, you know, I'm constantly chasing, particularly when I'm reading fiction. So anyways, we are here to do some Cyberpunk. So I'm going to stop monologuing for a bit and go back to the the job I just did. Archive conversation. Kalaka and Pedro found the little shits. One went down for the count, the other ran, but we got him in the back first. Know where he went? Yeah, guy's nearby in the tunnel, waiting for us. But we're in no hurry. We'll let him bleed out first. Archive conversation, Steve Lee and Chris Marciano. Contract signed. We're rich motherfuckers. Sweet June, let's hit the town. Where are we going? Below deck? Lizzie's? Licks? Boring. I've had enough of those used up dolls. Let's go to Vista. That's where the real girls are. I'm telling you. A few eds and they'll do anything. Ooh, guess we're going on a visit to Vista. All right. I'm just going to get rid of anything that isn't... I mean, I'm kind of at the point I should probably start getting rid of some duplicates, but I'll try and get rid of any of the things below tier 5. Yeah, 710, I'm going to need to do this again, so... Okay, so we got a couple Umbras, both 5++. Interesting. So I've got this one equipped, but I should probably have this one. Sorry for the delay on this. Man, how did I miss so many of these duplicates? Oh yeah, yeah. I'd love to hear it. Like I said, I hope I didn't sound too judgmental on audiobooks, but I wanted to try and give a slightly more comprehensive view. I say slightly, but that was a long rant. Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing too, right, is that like in the end, one of the reasons why I want to be careful when I say that, but why I still feel okay saying that, is that other people's opinions of your reading experience should not matter at all, right? Like they're not the one having the knowledge go into into their head, right? They have absolutely no standing when it comes to your individual experience of literature, and I think that's really important for people to preserve. Okay, I'm gonna switch Kyubi. Because I can't actually think of a reason why. I actually can't think of a reason why I'm keeping this like lower level one. Okay, let's try and get some cooler... Yeah, why not? Oh, interesting. Oh. So I can't replace this stuff. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll stick with it, but... I definitely get that, but it's the same thing where you're not religious, but in video game worlds you like to ask about religion in a game, and if they have anything, and you ask people's perspectives, and it's because it's part of someone's life that you know nothing about, never will, unless they ask about it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a style of thinking that I have a lot of respect for, because I think one of the... I mean, everybody's kind of already talked about, you know, filter bubbles and things like that, but... You know, there is a benefit. I mean, in some cases, there's a direct benefit to hearing opinions that you don't necessarily agree with. It doesn't mean that you adopt them. But I think, one, being able to interact with people who you disagree with is important. I think being able to appreciate a differing point of view, even if it's not one that you hold for yourself, is valuable. And I do feel in some cases that it's not just that we are losing at least the opportunity to do that, or we're closing ourselves off from the opportunity to do that. We're actually creating environments in which disagreement is sort of seen as like a hostile thing, right? Where, you know, I mean, like a great example of this would be politics, where I can know for some people of politicians that on most subjects they would agree with, but because they didn't show up for one particular vote on an issue that I don't even necessarily think they would consider to be the most important issue, but like because there was that one point of disagreement, their view was they would withhold their endorsement, and because they didn't like any of the other options, they weren't going to vote. And I consider that to be a pretty significant abdication of, I don't know, I mean, like the right to vote is the right to abstain as well, I suppose. But like I do sort of feel like that is a bit of a cop-out as a citizen. Because I think it's easy to sort of say, you know, none of these people are pure enough for me. But the fact of the matter is somebody does actually need to make the laws in the country. And, you know, I just don't see how every issue can be make or break. So, yeah, I mean, the kind of purity tests personally doesn't work for me. And I do sometimes feel that is a reflection of just the fact that we don't need to engage with points that we disagree with as often as we used to. So that's just a long way of saying that I really do respect and admire that point of view you have, and I think it's just one reason for that, in my view, is that I feel that it is something that we, in some cases, need to go out of our way to, you know, experience or appreciate.
Gary?
Johnny?
V this time. Disappointed.
Sorry. Don't really get how that show of yours works.
Sorry, I was having some coffee.
Simple. Imagine the Johnny's along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Knowing him, you don't got no ticket either.
Whatever. In any case, I'm at the wheel. I'd rather keep it that way.
I got it. You'll work too, right? Cool.
Something particular up, Gary?
A job of a kind that seems ideal for you. Corner of Gray and Malagra. Early morning. We'll talk.
Cool.
Okay, I'm actually kind of happy that I get this opportunity here to do another mission. This is one of the reasons why I didn't go directly to the Hanako mission, because I it felt a little funny to have some of these characters introduced without follow-up. All right, so the person who reads Project Hail Mary is one of the best voice actors to ever grace your ears. They read the book perfectly, especially the Matthew parts of the. Oh, I'm definitely interested in hearing that. Like I said, I like the way you put it, because I did mention, like, I have a great fondness for the Baroque cycle. Weirdly enough, actually, I have a friend who loves Cryptonomicon. I think she thinks it's like one of the best novels that she's read, but did not care for the Baroque cycle, which I thought was very interesting. And in any case, I do happen to like the Baroque cycle, but it is one of the few cases where I've not just heard an audiobook, but I actually listened. I mean, it's 3 large, like greater than 1,000 pages. Like well, maybe not greater than 1,000. It's somewhere between like 2,000 or 3,000 pages long, the whole Baroque cycle. I think it's split over like 8 books. Not volume, like, you know, the books are subdivisions of the larger. Well, I guess you can get like mass market paperback versions that are like the individual books, but either way, I think I was really, really struck by how much I enjoyed the audiobook version of the Baroque cycle. I don't suppose you know the name of the voice actor for Project Hail Mary, do you? Okay. And actually, I'll tell you what. Have you, while you do that, I may actually get one of my own before I start this mission. I'm going to guess you haven't read, and I use read broadly, so, you know, audiobook or sat down and read it. Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson, because I'm actually going to take a second here. I'm going to go and get my copy, and I'll introduce at least some of you to a pretty great opening chapter for a book. I will be back in just a moment. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry you got kicked, Schmendels. I don't know what would have caused that. I just wanted to. Well, it's because I wasn't at my keyboard. I was. It took me a minute to figure out. It took me a minute to figure out where my book was. Yeah. So thank you, Schmendels. Ray Porter. It's not a name I'm immediately. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, so Schmendels, if I didn't come through to you, there is a book that I mentioned earlier. The author's name is Neil Stevenson, and the book is called Snow Crash. This is actually quite an old book. It's let me look on the inside. Apparently published in 1992. So after Neuromancer was a the guy who wrote, I don't think so. At least I'm not familiar with Unwind and the Scythe series. But I'll give you the opening 10 pages for Snow Crash. Snow Crash actually kind of gets a it's interesting today because it is the book that coined the term metaverse. Now, obviously, it's kind of funny to see, like, I mean, this is a 1992 book, and it's weird because we're almost talking about the metaverse in the past tense now, right? Like, you know, the company that owns Instagram and Facebook and Oculus calls itself Meta. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But, like, you know, like, if anything, the metaverse is kind of a joke now. But in any case, I'm going to read to you the opening 10 pages of Snow Crash, and you can decide if this is something you want to continue on with. Snow Crash, Chapter 1. The Deliberator belongs to an elite order, a hallowed subcategory. He's got a spree up to here. Right now, he's preparing to carry out his third mission of the night. His uniform is black as activated charcoal, filtering the very light out of the air. A bullet will bounce off his arachnofiber weave like a wren hitting a patio door, but excess perspiration wafts through it like a breeze through a freshly napalmed forest. Where his body has bony extremities, the suit has sintered armor gel, feels like gritty jello, protects like a stack of telephone books. When they gave him the job, they gave him a gun. The Deliberator never deals in cash, but someone might come after him anyway. Might want his car or his cargo. The gun is tiny, arrow-styled, lightweight, the kind of gun a fashion designer would carry. It fires teensy darts that fly at 5 times the velocity of an SR-71 spy plane, and when you get done using it, you have to plug it into the cigarette lighter because it runs on electricity. The Deliberator never pulled that gun in anger or in fear. He pulled it once in Gila Highlands. Some punks in Gila Highlands, a fancy burbclave, wanted themselves a delivery, and they didn't want to pay for it. Thought they would impress the Deliberator with a baseball bat. The Deliberator took out his gun, centered its laser doohickey on that poised Louisville slugger, fired it. The recoil was immense, as though the weapon had blown up in his hand. The middle third of the baseball bat turned into a column of burning sawdust, accelerating in all directions like a bursting star. Punk ended up holding this bat handle with milky smoke pouring out the end. Stupid look on his face. Didn't get nothing but trouble from the Deliberator. Since then, the Deliberator has kept the gun in the glove compartment and relied instead on a matched set of samurai swords, which have always been his weapon of choice anyhow. The punks in Gila Highlands weren't afraid of the gun, so the Deliberator was forced to use it. But swords need no demonstrations. The Deliberator's car has enough potential energy packed into its batteries to fire a pound of bacon into the asteroid belt. Unlike a bimbo box or burb beater, the Deliberator's car unloads that power through gaping, gleaming, polished sphincters. When the Deliberator puts the hammer down, shit happens. You want to talk contact patches? Your car's tires have tiny contact patches. Talk to the asphalt in 4 places the size of your tongue. The Deliberator's car has big sticky tires with contact patches the size of a fat lady's thighs. The Deliberator is in touch with the road. Starts like a bad day, stops on a peseta. Why is the Deliberator so equipped? Because people rely on him. He's a role model. This is America. People do whatever the fuck they feel like doing. You got a problem with that? Because they have a right to. Because they have guns and no one can fucking stop them. As a result, this country has one of the worst economies in the world. When it gets down to it, talking trade balances here, once we've brain drained all our technology into other countries, once things have evened out, they're making cars in Bolivia and microwave ovens in Tajikistan and selling them over here. Once our edge in natural resources has been made irrelevant by giant Hong Kong ships and dirigibles that can ship North Dakota all the way to New Zealand for a nickel, once the invisible hand has taken all those historical inequalities and smeared them out into a broad global layer of what a Pakistani brick maker would consider to be prosperity, you know what? There's only 4 things that we do better than anyone else. Music, movies, microcode, software, and high-speed pizza delivery. The Deliverator used to make software, still does sometimes. But if life were a mellow elementary school run by well-meaning education PhDs, the Deliverator's report card would say, Hero is so bright and creative, but needs to work harder on his cooperation skills. So now he has the other job. No brightness or creativity involved, but no cooperation either. Just a single principle. The Deliberator stands tall, your pie in 30 minutes, or you can have it free, shoot the driver, take his car, file a class action suit. The Deliberator has been working this job for 6 months, a rich and lengthy tenure by his standards, and has never delivered a pizza in more than 21 minutes. Oh, they used to argue over times. Many corporate driver years lost to it. Homeowners, red-faced and sweaty with their own lies, stinking of Old Spice and job-related stress, standing in their glowing yellow doorways, brandishing their psychos and waving at the clock over at the kitchen sink. I swear, can't you guys tell time? Didn't happen anymore. Pizza delivery is a major industry, a managed industry. People went to Cosa Nostra Pizza University 4 years in just to learn it. Came indoors, unable to write an English sentence from Abkhazia, Rwanda, Guanajuato, South Jersey. Came out knowing more about pizza than a Bedouin knows about sand. And they had studied the problem, graphed the frequency of doorway delivery time disputes, wired the early deliverators to record then analyze the debating tactics, the voice stress histograms, the distinctive grammatical structures employed by the white middle-class Type A burbclave occupants who, against all logic, had decided that this was the place that they were going to take their personal Casterian stand against all that was stale and deadening in their lives. That they were going to lie or delude themselves about the time of their phone call and get themselves a free pizza. No, they deserved a free pizza, along with their life, liberty, and the pursuit of whatever it was fucking inalienable. Sent psychologists out to these people's houses, gave them a free TV set to submit to an anonymous interview, hooked them to polygraphs, studied their brainwaves as they showed them choppy, inexplicable movies and porn queens and late-night car crashes and Sammy Davis Jr., put them in sweet-smelling, mauve-walled rooms and asked them questions about ethics so perplexing that even a Jesuit couldn't respond without committing a venial sin. The analysts at Cosa Nostra Pizza University concluded that it was just human nature and you couldn't fix it, and so they went for a quick, cheap technical fix. Smart boxes. The pizza box is in a plastic carapace now, corrugated for stiffness, little LED readout glowing on the side, telling the deliverator how many trade imbalance producing minutes have ticked away since the fateful phone call. There are chips and stuff in there. The pizzas rest, a short stack of them, in slots behind the deliverator's head. Each pizza glides into the slot like a circuit board into a computer, clicks into place as the smart box interfaces with the onboard system of the deliverator's car. The address of the caller has already been inferred from his phone number and poured into the smart box's built-in RAM. From there, it is communicated to the car, which computes and projects the optimal route on a heads-up display, a glowing colored map traced out against the windshield so that the deliverator does not even have to glance down. If the 30-minute deadline expires, news of the disaster is flashed to Cosa Nostra Pizza headquarters and relayed from there to Uncle Enzo himself, the Sicilian Colonel Sanders, the Andy Griffith of Bensonhurst, the straight-razor-flinging figment of many a deliverator's nightmares, the capo and prime figurehead of Cosa Nostra Pizza Incorporated, who will be on the phone to the customer within 5 minutes, apologizing profusely. The next day, Uncle Enzo will land on the customer's yard in a jet helicopter and apologize some more and give him a free trip to Italy, All he has to do is sign a bunch of releases that make him a public figure and spokesperson for Cosa Nostra Pizza and basically end his private life as he knows it. He will come away from the whole thing feeling that somehow he owes the Mafia a favor. The deliberator does not know for sure what happens to the driver in such cases, but he has heard some rumors. Most pizza deliveries happen in the evening hours, which Uncle Enzo considers to be his private time. And how would you feel if you had to interrupt dinner with your family in order to call some obstreperous dork in a burbclave to grovel for a late fucking pizza? Uncle Enzo has not put 50 years serving his family and country so that at the age when most are playing golf and bobbing their granddaughters, he can get out of the bathtub dripping wet, lie down, and kiss the feet of some 16-year-old skate punk whose pepperoni was 31 minutes in coming. Oh God. It makes a deliverer breathe a little shallower just to think of the idea. But he wouldn't drive for Cosa Nostra Pizza any other way. You know why? Because there is something about having your life on the line. It's like being a kamikaze pilot. Your mind is clear. Other people, store clerks, burger flippers, software engineers, the whole vocabulary of meaningless jobs that make up life in America, other people just rely on plain old competition. Better flip your burgers or debug your subroutines faster and better than your high school classmate 2 blocks down the strip is flipping or debugging, because we're in competition with those guys and people notice these things. What a fucking rat race that is. Cosa Nostra Pizza doesn't have any competition. Competition goes against the mafia ethic. You don't work harder because you're competing against some identical operation down the street. You work harder because everything is on the line. Your name, your honor, your family, your life. Those burger flippers might have better life expectancy, but what kind of life is it anyway? You don't have to ask yourself. That's why nobody, not even the Nipponese, can move pizzas faster than Cosa Nostra. The deliberator is proud to wear the uniform, proud to drive the car, proud to march up against the front walks of innumerable burbclave homes, a grim vision in ninja black, pizza on his shoulder, red LED digits blazing proud numbers into the night, 1232 or 1515, or the occasional 2043. The deliberator is assigned to Cosa Nostra Pizza 3569 in the Valley. Southern California doesn't know whether to bustle or just strangle itself on the spot. Not enough roads for the number of people. Fairlanes Incorporated is laying new ones all the time. Have to bulldoze lots of neighborhoods to get it. But those 70s and 80s developments exist to be bulldozed, right? No sidewalks, no schools, no nothing. Don't have their own police force, no immigration control. Undesirables can walk right in without being frisked or even harassed. Now a burbclave, that's the place to live. A city state with its own constitution, a border, laws, cops, everything. The deliberator was a corporal in the farms of Maryvale State Security Force for a while once. Got himself fired for pulling a sword on an acknowledged perp. Slid it right through the fabric of the perp's shirt, gliding the flat of the blade along the base of his neck, and pinned him to a warped and bubbled expanse of vinyl siding on the wall of the house that the perp was trying to break into. Thought it was a pretty righteous bust, but they fired him anyway because the perp turned out to be the son of the vice chancellor of the farms of Maryvale. Oh, the weasels had an excuse. Said that 36-inch samurai sword was not on their weapons protocol. Said that they had violated the SPAC, the Suspected Perpetrator Apprehension Code. Said that the perp had suffered psychological trauma. He was afraid of butter knives now, had to spread his jelly with the back of a teaspoon. They said that he had exposed them to liability. The deliberator had to borrow some money to pay for it. Had to borrow it from the mafia, in fact. So he's in their database now. Retinal patterns, DNA, voice graph, fingerprints, footprints, palm prints, wrist prints, every fucking part of the body that had wrinkles on it. Almost. Those bastards had rolled in ink and made a print and digitized it into their computer. But it's their money. Sure, they're careful about loaning it out. And when he applied for the deliberator job, they were happy to take him because they knew him. When he got the loan, he had to deal personally with the assistant vice capo of the Valley, who later recommended him for the deliberator job. So it was like being in a family. A really scary, twisted, abusive family. Cosa Nostra Pizza 3569 is on Vista Road just down from Kings Park Mall. Vista Road used to belong to the state of California and is now called Fairlanes Incorporated, Route CSV 5. Its main competition used to be a U.S. highway and is now called Cruiseways Incorporated, Route Cal 12. Farther up the valley, the two competing highways actually cross. Once there had been bitter disputes, the intersection closed by sporadic sniper fire. Finally, a big developer bought the entire intersection and turned it into a drive-through mall. Now the roads just feed into the parking system. Not a lot, a ramp, but a system, and lose their identity. Getting through the intersection involves tracing paths through the parking system, many braided filaments of a direction like the Ho Chi Minh Trail. CSV5 has better throughput, but Cal 12 has better pavement. That is typical. Fairlane's rows emphasize getting you there for Type A drivers, and cruiseways emphasize the enjoyment of the ride for Type B drivers. The Deliberator is a Type A driver with rabies. He is zeroing in on his home base, Cosa Nostra Pizza 3569, cranking it up the left lane of CSV5 at 120 kilometers. His car is an invisible black lozenge, just a dark place that reflects the tunnel of franchise signs, the low-glow. A row of orange light burbles and churns across the front, where the grille would be if this were an air-breathing car. The orange light looks like a gasoline fire. It comes in through people's rear windows, bounces off their rear-view mirrors, projects a fiery mask across their eyes, reaches into their subconscious, and unearths terrible fears of being pinned fully conscious under a detonating gas tank. Makes them want to pull over and let the Deliberator overtake them in his black chariot of pepperoni fire. The low glow overhead, marking out CSV5 and twin contrails, is a body of electrical light made of innumerable cells, each cell designated in Manhattan by imagiers who make more for designing a single logo than a Deliberator makes in an entire lifetime. Despite their efforts to stand out, they smear together, especially at 120 kilometers per hour. Still, it's easy to see Cosa Nostra Pizza 3569 because of the billboard, which is wide and tall even by current inflated standards. In fact, the squat franchise itself looks like nothing more than a low-slung base for the great aramid fiber pillars that thrust the billboard up into the trademark firmament. Marca registrada, baby. The billboard is a classic, a chestnut, not a figment of some fleeting mafia promotional campaign. It is a statement, a monument built to endure. Simple and dignified, it shows Uncle Enzo in one of his spiffy Italian suits. The pinstripes glint and flex like sinews. The pocket square is luminous. His hair is perfect, slicked back with something that never comes off, each strand cut off straight and square at the end by Uncle Enzo's cousin, Art the barber, who runs the second largest chain of low-end haircutting establishments in the world. Uncle Enzo is standing there, not exactly smiling, an avuncular glint in his eye for sure, not posing like a model, but standing there like your uncle would, and says, "The Mafia. You've got a friend in the family, paid for by the Our Thing Foundation." The billboard serves as the Deliberator's pole star. He knows that when he gets to the place on CSV5 where the bottom corner of the billboard is obscured by the pseudo-Gothic stained glass arches of the local Reverend Wayne's Pearly Gates franchise, it is time for him to get over to the right lanes where the retards in the bimbo boxes poke along, random, indecisive, looking at each passing franchise driveway like they don't know if it's a promise or a threat. He cuts off a bimbo box, a family minivan, veers past the buy-and-fly that is next door, and pulls into Cosa Nostra Pizza 3569. Those big fat contact patches complain, squeal a bit, but they hold on to the patented Fairlane's incorporated high-traction pavement and guide him into the chute. No other Deliberators are waiting in the chute. That's good. That means high turnover for him. Fast action. Keep moving that za. As he scrunches to a stop, the electrochemical hatch on the flank of his car is already opening to reveal his empty pizza slots, the door clicking and folding back in on itself like the wing of a beetle. The slots are waiting for hot pizza. And waiting. The Deliberator honks the horn. This is not a nominal outcome. Window slides open. That should never happen. You can look at the 3-ring binder from Cosa Nostra Pizza University's cross-reference a citation for window chute dispatchers, and it will give you all the procedures for that window, and it should never be opened, unless something has gone wrong. The window slides open, and you sitting down, smoke comes out of it. The Deliberator hears a discordant beetling over the metal hurricane of his sound system and realizes that it's a smoke alarm coming from inside the franchise. Mute button on the stereo, oppressive silence. His eardrums uncringe. The window is buzzing with the cry of a smoke alarm. The car idles, waiting. The hatch has been open too long. Atmospheric pollutants are congealing on the electrical contacts on the backs of the pizza slots. He'll have to clean them ahead of schedule. Everything is going exactly the way it shouldn't in the 3-ring binder that spells out all the rhythms of the pizza universe. Inside, a football-shaped Azkaban man is running to and fro, holding a 3-ring binder open, using the spare tire as a ledge to keep it from collapsing shut. He runs with the gait of a man carrying an egg on a spoon. He is shouting in Abkhazian dialect. All the people who run Cosa Nostra pizza franchises in this part of the valley are Abkhazian immigrants. It does not look like a serious fire. The Deliberator saw a real fire once at the farms of Maryvale, and you couldn't see anything for the smoke. That's all it was. Smoke, burbling out of nowhere, occasional flashes of orange light down at the bottom, like heat lightning in tall clouds. This is not that kind of fire. It's a kind of fire that just barely puts out enough smoke to detonate the smoke alarms, and he is losing time for this shit. The Deliberator holds the horn button down. The Abkhazian manager comes to the window. He is supposed to use the intercom to talk to drivers. He could say anything he wanted, and it would be piped straight into the Deliberator's car. But no, he has to talk face to face, like the Deliberator is some kind of fucking ox cart driver. He is red-faced, sweating. His eyes roll as he tries to think of the English words. A fire. A little one, he says. The Deliberator says nothing, because he knows that all of this is going onto videotape. Tape is being pipelined, as it happens, to Cosa Nostra Pizza University, where it will be analyzed in a pizza management science laboratory. It will be shown to Pizza University students, perhaps to the very students who will replace this man when he gets fired, as a textbook example of how to screw up your life. New employee, put his dinner in the microwave, had foil in it. Boom, the manager says. Abkhazia has been part of the Soviet fucking Union. A new immigrant from Abkhazia trying to operate a microwave was like a deep-sea tube worm trying to do brain surgery. Where do you get these guys? Weren't there any Americans who could just bake a fucking pizza? Just give me one pie, the Deliberator says. Talking about pies snaps the guy into the current century. He gets a grip. He slams the window shut, strangling the relentless keening of the smoke alarm. A Nipponese robot arm shoves the pizza out and into the top slot. The hatch folds shut to protect it. As the Deliberator is pulling out the chute, building up speed, checking the address that is flashed across his windshield, deciding whether to turn right or left, it happens. His stereo cuts out again, on command of the onboard system. The cockpit light goes red. Red. A repetitive buzzer begins to sound. The LED readout on his windshield, which echoes the one on the pizza box, flashes up. 20 minutes. They have just given the Deliberator a 20-minute-old pizza. He checks the address. It is 12 minutes away. So, I think the ultimate pizza delivery is a really good way to start a cyberpunk novel. I, however, do not have any talent as an audiobook reader, so... But yeah, if that was interesting to you, I definitely recommend you all check out Snow Crash. It definitely shows its age. I mean, it's like 40 years, almost 40 years old now, but it's definitely a solid one. All right. Look, I don't know if Carrie's just having a real late life crisis or whether his shrinks got to him on some sweet new meds. But I do know one thing. This is going to be good. Just meet up with a guy. Won't be bored, I guarantee it. Carrie needs some help. Always did. I got nothing against it either. A friend in need is a friend indeed. And I've never been jealous of that second fiddle in my life. Yeah, no, it is absolutely a pizza delivery in the far future. Yeah, no, it's the world of Snow Crash is like, if you take anything you've read about the 90s and just like turn the dial up to 11, that's roughly what it is. So it's like, as the book says, like there are four things, like once the like the world is fully globalized and like transporting, goods and services becomes so cheap that it doesn't really matter where you do it. It basically says that the U.S. economy is down to four things: movies, music, software, and pizza delivery. And the mafia effectively has completely dominated the pizza delivery game. So and that monopoly gives it a pizza university, and that is not even the strangest thing in the in the book. So, Carrie Eurodyne, a devilishly talented musician, incorrigible rebel, celebrity, and rocker boy from Night City. People say different things about Carrie, but there's no doubt he's America's god of rock. In the old days, he strummed next to Johnny Silverhand in the cult rock band Samurai. When the two drifted apart, Eurodyne kickstarted a solo career, which, in spite of its ups and downs, is still going strong. Carrie's proud of his Filipino roots, though for someone of his fame, he's especially private about his personal life. For all its numerous flaws, he's made Night City his own, his most faithful muse. All right. One pizza, please.
You're here. That's Nova. Get in. Take you for a ride. As soon as I saw you that time, I thought to myself, those are some balls on that one. And I definitely need someone with a pair for this job.
Never mind the testicles. Tell him to keep those hands at 10 and 2. Always wound up in a ditch whenever Carrie drove.
These your wheels?
God, no. Come on. Borrowed. So no loss if we wreck it.
That's the plan.
Fuck. Knew it.
So what good will my balls do us today?
V, some people in this town, they've gone completely whacked. You're gonna help me set things right in this shithole we call home.
Uh-huh. How's that exactly?
Yeah, there's this little girl group. Us cracks, right? 3 birds from Japan, laser pop scop. Yeah, big over in Asia. I mean, who isn't? Now they signed some deal for an NUS tour. Want to promote it with a cover of my song. Can you believe that? Not about to let them play me like that.
Right. So, what's the plan?
The truck with the Us Cracks kid will be coming this way. Got a tip. We do it old style, like last century. We blow the fucker up. No gear. Those bitches will have to cancel concerts.
Carrie solving his own problems. Used to just send in an army of lawyers. They made it all disappear while he tanned his bare ass by the pool. Must be some fuckery indeed.
Be there in a sec.
It's really good to hear, Schmendels. I wish I could write short stories, but I don't know. I still need to. Well, one, I kind of need to get over myself, but two, I definitely need to. I definitely need to kind of learn the form. That's really good that, one, you did it, but number two, that you're happy with the results.
Trunk. Grab what's in there.
Well, well. Quite the arsenal.
We're fighting for art. Art with a capital A. Come on, get to work.
I know the guy. This ain't about art.
You got it.
You know they killed Ivy Coma right here. In this very spot. DJ, cloaked AV followed her limo. Almost nothing left of her afterwards. Or her limo. Turned out later she wasn't the target. Some Biotechnica suit busy eating her out when the bullets started flying. Found the bodies just like that.
That's great.
Lay it out here. Hide. Quick.
What now?
Now we wait.
Automated modules, hollow spikes for better control of the vehicle, standard issue police tech. Nate's too. Where'd you get them?
Same place you get designer drugs. The latest still patent pending Audiovox and fresh Ubaris.
Black market.
Nah. Fans.
I have a feeling you're setting me up to ask where
There
the...
she is.
Oh.
Right on the dot. I take the driver. You get his side tune. We want him out of the truck.
Sure hope you know what you're doing.
You two whacked? The hell was that? Out of the truck! On the ground! Hands where I can see him!
Get out. Nice and easy, no weirdness, nothing will happen.
Got the wrong truck! Fuck, we're not!
I said easy. Now get down on the ground. Won't say it a third time.
Hey man, lose the iron. Let's talk it out.
Not a word. It'll all be over soon.
Oh, fucking hell.
Access guard! Grab it! Pop the back.
Quit squirming, and no gonk moves.
What's inside?
Your lucky day,
Stay
Care.
nice and still there,
Crates and
boys.
crates of nothing but gear. Got your mixers, speakers, drums, cables by the mile.
Hell yeah, we got a hit. Right, gents. Now, run along and don't look back. I said, Delta the fuck off. Now for the grand finale. Want this set to be a smoldering puddle of chrome and plastic when we're done.
Ah, the new signature move.
Mm-hmm, you got it. So don't miss. Fuck yeah! Good working with you, V.
Fuck me, Carrie. Meaning it's just a truck of toys for some plastic Japanese dolls. Might as well blow up a cotton candy stand. But still a big step forward. I hardly recognize the bastard.
It's burning real nice. I'll grant you that. Thing is, I mean, what's it actually get you?
If those little bitches think they can make it big on my song, they got another thing coming. You even know what I had to sacrifice to get where I am? The price I paid for success? And those 10 any whores wanna clep my tune and expect me to just let them? Fucking pig ignorant hacks!
Yeah, success. Always a sore spot of Cares. See, nothing's changed.
Wouldn't it have been better to have a lawyer fight this fight for you?
Oh, you're one to talk. I've flashed my teeth and signed papers enough for one lifetime. This here, I'm sending a message. This is how you do biz in Night City. Cops, that's Delta. You drive. Get him off our ass.
Sorry, Schmendels, I'll get out of this.
I repeat, code 0 in this area. All units resume normal duties. Reports have confirmed suspect is still in the area.
Oh, shit! Last time I ran from the cops was back in 2020. With Johnny, actually. High out of our damn minds. Pigs still couldn't catch us. These cops don't stand a chance! Fucking pigs!
Yeah, sorry, Schmendels, I will catch up on your messages
Yeah,
just
well,
as soon as I don't need
pop
to
the
focus.
champagne yet. Still riding our asses.
So we lose them. Quicker the better, too. I'm starving.
All units in the
Nice.
area, order has been restored. All
Lots
units
of
instructed to return to patrol.
Paying out the ass for you. But it was worth every Eddie. Nice one.
We get to see a single Eddie.
Okay. Drop me off on Carnitas.
All right. So, Spider-Man is born with a strange ability. Whatever he says is true. For example, if he said trees were purple, then he'd walk outside and see all the trees were purple. Basically, he's always right, even if he's wrong. It becomes right, and obviously uses his power to do a bunch of stuff. Eventually, he gets bored and becomes narcissistically insane. I do like this. One of the things I like about it is it makes me think a little bit of the, I mean, I kind of talked about this before, but it does make me think a little bit of the YouTube algorithm, right? Where if you want, you can build a world, in fact, very easily build a world in which you are never told anything other than what you want to hear. And of course, particularly on something like YouTube, where effectively every piece of information is put on the same footing. The idea that you're stating it makes it true. Like, that's definitely the first place I go for it. Obviously, it's a fun premise on its own, but I kind of like it because it does line up a little bit with some of my preoccupations in terms of just how people get their information and how they sort of wind up talking to each other. Not even talking to each other, but maybe talking at each other. So I sort of like that it works on those two levels. Although I could probably spend less time obsessing about the internet and all the bad things it does. Because, I mean, like, I don't know, would I really want to, like, if I had the option of completely severing myself from the internet, like, this is, I think, one of the things, right? People always talk about, quote unquote, the loneliness epidemic. And I was like, oh yeah, smartphones have just made us all the more lonelier. And I'm like, well, I guess, like, kind of in a way, right? You have more, I mean, like, a lot of my friendships are still people I knew back in Vancouver, and I'm in Ontario now, so obviously that's quite a distance. But, like, what's the alternative, right? If I like got rid of my smartphone, if I completely severed myself from the internet, is that going to make me less lonely? No, that's probably going to increase my loneliness. So, I definitely overstate the bear case, but
Carry Uridine eats at a dump like this.
Chumbada. Best coffee in town right here. Thick as tar, and if they know you, they give you the organic stuff. Come on, my treat.
Wow, coffee with a rock star. Well, why not? First time for everything.
2:40 a.m.
When Samurai started out, we spent every penny we had on guitars, strings, you know. Hey, Rachel!
Good morning.
Know this dump. Know that smell. But how?
Hello?
Had almost nothing left over for food. But we still went across the street every day, right to Caliente. Stuffed our faces, down Joe by the gallon. Johnny said we were so hungry and high we would have eaten the cardboard boxes out from under the bums outside. Of course, he was wrong.
The usual, Mr. Eurodyne?
Double espresso, Jamaican blend, nothing else, no sugar.
You got it. And for you?
What he's having.
Great. Be right back with it.
Whew! Shit! Just coming down now. Whew! Fucking awesome.
Yeah, I agree, Schmendels.
Last time I felt like this was back in Memphis. Last tour, Last concert vibes from the crowd, me on stage. Oh, fuck. Just thought about those us cracks cunts again. You think we got them?
They really got to you, didn't they?
Look at this. Unlistenable. That trash is their biggest hit. Fuck. Anyone could churn out hits like that. Even you.
Honestly, to me this all stinks of one big media play.
No, not it at all.
Come on. Somehow you know where to find the gear truck of some Asian dolls doing a cover of your song? Juicy little scandal for the media. Best case scenario, you know the game they're playing. Worst, they're playing you.
Ah, fuck. Sure hope you're wrong. Because otherwise Johnny would have been right. From the get-go.
What's Johnny got to do with any of this?
Well, Johnny accused me of leaving Samurai for money. And fame.
But that's not true.
No, it's true. Won't lie. But he also said I'd be putting myself on a corp leash.
And that's not something you'll admit to.
The us cracks thing. What if I'm a product just like those dolls? Drowning in dirty money instead of swimming in it.
Johnny's dead.
So they say.
And you're alive. Decide whose truth matters more to you. Yours or someone else's.
That a trick question?
Only if you don't have the nads to answer it honestly.
Better be going. Thanks for,
Don't mention it.
Pretty sure I can put that song on the the radio.
You deliver.
Used to. Our third delivery boy got shot last week. Finding replacements is starting to get harder.
You gotta get the
So, you gonna
deliberator.
order something?
Have a great night, Schmendels. Thanks. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for sharing your short story idea and implementation, by the way. And I'm sure I will see you when we're doing Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop. I know I kind of did Outlast on Wednesday, but... So again, this makes me think that if I wait another day, there's probably going to be more quests. And this is one dilemma I'm going to run into, which is that there isn't... I don't think there's going to be an obvious, like, closing point. Oh. Hey, forgot to send the Andes before, but should hit your account any sec. Preem work. $21,470 seems like a decent decent amount. I do get an experience bonus if I rest in one of my apartments. Now, it's not like I need the experience, but can't hurt to... Hello, Tiberiosity. Thanks for stopping by. It's Johnny's. All right, home sweet home. Well, yeah. So the tricky one for me is that I'm on to Nocturne Op 55 and 1, but it's very clear that I've unlocked some new content, but it doesn't really tell me what's coming up. So in this case, I'm sort of reduced to resting for 12-hour periods and seeing, seeing what's going on now. I did Phantom Liberty when when it came out. I started the playthrough over again. So I've seen the new stuff, but the funny thing is I have yet to see the finale. By the way, I'm not going to play it, but just pointing out we did we achieved greatness. Some are born great. Some achieve greatness. Some have greatness thrust upon them. Yeah, I really liked Phantom Liberty. Yeah, actually, it was funny. Like, a lot of people were. It's weird that they're mad about it. And I say that because I have had some nights where, like, I have actually been that tired that, like, the angle on which I hit the bed is irrelevant. I just like go and sleep. So like I took that, I did not think of that as a bug. Like I saw some very clear bugs, but like that I genuinely thought was like, because I'm playing at the beginning of the game and you literally die, right? Like it's I think you're allowed to be a bit tuckered out if you come back from the dead. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I this story is like kind of boring now just because of the number of times. But like, I remember being quite skeptical early on about 2077. I know like everybody loves to say that. Oh yeah, I called that. But like, I can definitely remember getting more than a little flack for not worshiping at the altar of CD Projekt Red. And to be fair, it's like I've never played Witcher 3, right? So maybe if I had, like, I would have thought that like Cyberpunk 2077 was guaranteed to be the most awesome thing. Oh yeah, the other one I love is like the same crowd who loves to talk about like shill reviewers and stuff like that. I remember going on Steam within the first hour of the game being released, and there's like easily 100 reviews of like, I already know it's going to be good. And like playtime 0.01 or something like that. So just, just complete nonsense. But the tide turns, right? The game does have some bugs and some sort of sharp corners on it. But the thing that was so funny about this was that, like, you know, I got the key from GOG. I'm obviously grateful for that. That does not buy my opinion. And I did have some criticisms, right? So there are some things that I wish the game had done differently. Like I really do think the sexualized advertising is interesting because, you know, it communicates a certain, you know, desire for the flesh and for connection in a time when, you know, there are affordable cybernetics. But then you will have like that whole opening secret with, I think, Sandra Dorset, and like you cannot move your character anywhere without having at least one tit like staring straight at you. And it's like, especially because that is like that is not how you normally carry people in the game. It's just sort of like, what do you take me for? They gave it to me. So I know that's like sounds like a sarcastic answer, but like that was it was like a press key that they gave me. Same with like Phantom Liberty. So like, you know, I did highlight like the stuff that I thought was tacky, but I also, like, despite having sort of maximum skepticism for the game prior to release, I really did need to admit that, like, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. And I thought the stuff people were complaining about as launch, first of all, was pretty minor, right? Like I'd seen, you know, comparable bugs in other things, and I didn't feel that it was like a disaster. And that I felt not only was the criticism overblown, but that you could very clearly look at the player statistics. You know, just take a look at the number of people playing concurrently on Steam, and you could see that the most common experience of that game was people enjoying it. Now, you know, like there's obviously the embarrassing Sony stuff, and it seems like, you know, sort of some of the console releases were thrown under the bus to, you know, to be able to get the game out on time. But I don't know, like I guess the contrast I would draw would be I rather liked Anthem when I played it. I didn't think Anthem was a perfect game, but I liked it. And I could very clearly see how, with some more time in Anthem, BioWare could make that like a really good game. And I was very disappointed to find out that Anthem 2.0 was sort of, they pulled the plug during COVID. And I felt that there were like I could be sympathetic to people who said that like Anthem wasn't quite for them. Like I understood why that game maybe disappointed a bit in terms of its sales, but I felt that there was enough that was very enjoyable in it that it could have been fixed with enough time and effort. And of course the drawback here, right, is when you have BioWare, at least that era of BioWare, like you really are taking some of the best people in game development and like not having them make another Mass Effect or Dragon Age. So, you know, that is unfortunately the question for Electronic Arts there was, and BioWare was not, you know, do we make Anthem better? It's, do we make Anthem better at the expense of giving players what they very obviously want? And of course, the drawback here is that it was followed by another disappointment, which was Veilguard, which I haven't played. And, you know, I do feel like there's some trouble there now. Maybe the trouble was earlier, but it wasn't obvious to me that it had to turn out that way. So yeah, in the case of 2077, it didn't strike me that there was sort of a structural thing that you needed to change to unlock the fun out of 2077. It was more like, yeah, there's like surface level stuff that you need to deal with, but for the most part, like this is quite an enjoyable game, and I can see why there's lots of people playing it. But I mean, again, it's like, this is, you know, if you outsource your opinions to YouTube, then you're going to get somebody who goes, despite the fact that they've got a high quality PC, they're just going to go and turn down all the settings and say, this is what it looks like on console, because, you know, you're not going to get like you're going to get a ton of views to tell people, oh yeah, Cyberpunk actually sucks, versus like, oh hey, actually, you know what, there's a bunch of things that are really cool and I haven't seen before in a game, and maybe we're overdoing it. You just, nobody wants to hear that, or at least nobody's going to click on that. So that's not the story you get to hear. Instead, it was, the thing that drove me crazy was the number of people who said that like Phantom Liberty was Cyberpunk's chance to redeem itself. And I'm like, there's nothing to redeem, right? Again, look at the player statistics. A year after the release of that game, there were still a lot of people really enjoying it. There's just a really vocal minority who want to say that apparently it was actually a piece of shit when it never was. So anyway, piece is heading to print. Happy to hear. I don't even know what piece this is. Jesus Christ, Swedenborg's gone completely wacko. He's writing total nonsense. Maybe I had something to do with it. What? Why? Chum and I were messing around with it, and that's just how things turned out. Seriously? Okay. Later. Keep me posted. I will. You too.
I've got a lot going on. Listen, if anything, you can...
All right, that does it. I wasn't going to kill the guy. He drew the weapon on me.
Hey, Carrie.
You know what I'm looking at? Us cracks concert announcement. This is not fucking happening.
Wait, what? I thought we took care of it.
Truck didn't do shit. They just postponed the gig. Meet me outside the club. Little push didn't work. Now we gotta shove.
Tried talking to the label, didn't you?
What do you think I did first? I sent my manager after him. Yeah, hell of what that did. Sent me back a crate of fine whiskey and started bombarding me with PR shit every 2 seconds, reminding me about our deal. Fuck 'em.
Right. See you outside the club.
Bring your heat.
All right. Let's where are we? Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I do wish I played slightly differently. I feel like there was a chance for me to do this Carrie Uridine stuff earlier, because of course now it really just feels like I'm doing a job and then I'm sleeping 12 hours so that I can, you know, I can turn around and do another mission. And I don't know, like it could be that the rogue stuff is finished. Like I don't know if there's, excuse me, supposed to be a final confrontation with Adam Smasher, or if they're going to save that as a finale fight. I can definitely see that being something that I wouldn't do, but it's, I don't know, it's Chekhov's Smasher, right? Like you can't introduce that you can't introduce the high functioning cyber psycho and not have him not have a fight with him at the end. But because the Hanako mission says, you know, you might you're not going to be able to run around Night City until after you're done this mission, it tells me that maybe I should wait it out. Anyways, we'll make this work.
About time. Hey! Come on. Time to lay it out for those little idiots. Their 15 minutes is up.
Hey, wild idea I got. How about we forget the whole thing and just enjoy the show?
Please stop. Won't be no show. And you're gonna help me make sure of that.
How might we do that?
Simple. We get in the club, find the little slut's dressing room, do our thing, Delta. So, step one. Any idea how to get in?
Look, sometimes simplest is best. We just buy tickets.
Okay. First, you whacked? Not about to let those bitches make an any off of me. Second, it's sold out.
Cool. We'll find a way in anyway. Let's look around.
V.
Maniac!
Tickets?
Sold out, definitely.
Apparently been sold out a while. Of course, no surprise there.
I'm surprised.
Hang on, we'll be back.
Whatever.
You kidding me?
Could have said you found a ladder. Toss it down. Gotta get backstage.
Oh my god, I got the best idea. We'll give her a present when we go to their show. They wrote on their site that they're lovers of expensive
Passes.
Maybe we could make her a cup. You know, like the kind you drink matcha.
Choom, come on, help us out. We left him inside.
No, can't. Try the main door, they'll check the list.
Yeah, but by that time, the holo projector'll be on and out of whack. I'll have to recalibrate, no way this show starts on time.
Sayonara, Chu. You're out. Cause ain't no way we're taking the fall.
Fuck. All right, go. Staple them to your fucking foreheads next time, will ya?
Thanks, pal. You just saved the show.
Recalibrate holo projectors. How you even know shit like that?
Past life. Worked backstage for Ji-Hung for a time. Learned some things.
Fucking Japanese
Finally
markers.
came in handy today.
How the fuck am I supposed to know what goes where? That's it. Fuck it. I'm going back to
Probably gonna
installing
send
beacon.
Ronnie over to Europe.
He tell him you were pregnant?
Sure, but he can't opt out. We're still paying off his implants.
Oh, it's not that bad. They locked mine up when Diego was barely one. Look how he turned out without a fuck.
We have a today, Miguri? Oh, wait. This the special boy from Foundation Organization?
Now, we're gonna chat.
Who the fuck are you?
The fucking guy you robbed.
Carrie Uridine! Carrie-san!
I ain't your son. This ain't a meet and greet either. V?
Hear him out. This is all a misunderstanding. Clear it up, and we're gone.
But Carrie-san, what happened? We had a deal, didn't we?
Oh my god. Is this about that N54 interview?
We, didn't mean to offend or anything. Old doesn't mean anything anymore.
No wonder the truck didn't get to him. Even dumber than I thought.
Wait. What's this about a deal?
We signed a deal with MSM to play Carrie-san's user-friendly.
It's like our new single for the North American leg of the tour.
Over my dead body.
But we're going to bring your rock into a new era. Isn't that what you want?
Rock? You? Okay, let me tell you something. It's been claimed before, but you actually did it. Rock is dead, and you killed it. Congratulations!
Your manager contacted ours. Said you wanted to work with us.
Kovacic? The fuck? He never even asked me. The fucking corpo cuntbag.
Listen, Carrie-san, that cover is an expression of our love for you. Please, let's work something out.
Rock might be dead, but Carrie's blind if he can't see these girls got potential.
Looks like the label fucked you all. You're their pawns. They're playing you.
Looks that way. Fuck. You know, got nothing against you. The sitch, that's what's fucked.
Well, you chained your gonk ass to the corpos. What'd you expect?
We'll talk to the label, Carrie-san. But right now, we'll make our displeasure known.
Your song's not in the set. We're calling off the concert and suspending the tour.
Seriously? You'll lose millions.
They'll lose even more.
Well, okay. You girls... You're all right. What I said earlier,
No biggie, Carrie-san! Even monkeys fall from trees.
Right. Let's go, V.
Wait! Carrie-san, can we get a pic with you? Just as a souvenir?
Why the hell not? V, do the honors.
Hang on, let's get a selfie.
Am I gonna wind up as the center of the image? Come on. Surely there is a way to move higher. God. I'm like never gonna look at this picture again. Okay, so not turning me into the center of attention would be nice. This is going to be a disaster of a photo. I can't get everybody in. All right, let's just try and tight aperture. Yeah, that'll work.
All right, think we got it.
It's avant-garde.
Thanks, Carrie-san.
So, you working on any new songs? We could maybe pick one for your single.
Really?
Yeah, gonna stick around some, V. I mean, look at them. The girls need help. Thanks.
Yeah, have fun.
Carrie-san, maybe you'd, like, want to hear about her new single?
I am reasonably happy with how that turned out, but I do kind of wish that, I don't know. It kind of would have been neat if it went there's a little bit more of an arc to it. I don't know. That's fine. Maniac. All right, so I think I'm just gonna do the same same as last time. I'll just go to the closest apartment and wait it out. I'll worry about this later. So I think it's probably a little too much to hope that I'm going to do the final mission today, but I think if I can at least get some of these side missions done and then like move on to the finale next week, that can work for me. I mean, I guess if it comes down to it, I always have the option of like just opening up the wiki and seeing like what the ends for each of the side quests are, and then try and either find it in the log or just go by memory. But I don't know, like it feels like it would be nicer if I didn't have to consult a resource for, oh, I forgot I've got the cat. For basics like whether or not I should do the final mission or not. Hey V, time is on my side. Maybe I should come visit. Mega building, you know which unit. Suits me just fine. See you soon. But not instantaneously.
Carrie, hey.
You got plans this evening? Cancel. Go to Dark Matter on Woodland. You might not know the place. Don't really advertise.
Well, what's the occasion?
Us cracks. We never celebrated our little victory. Go around back, tell the bouncer you're with me. Let you in, no problem. Don't be late.
I have one of everything now. But again, that's just a chance for me to kind of run around and do everything. But obviously, again, because I'm talking about trying to see all the content, clearly I spent a lot of time acquiring things, but not actually having the experiences that... like, it's all piled up now. All right. Figure I'll get my money's worth. Off the leash. You know, Carrie's whole escapade makes me think. People do change. He did. I mean, he made it to a crossroads, and now I can see his rocker boy heart pushing him down the right path. Problem, you ask? Carrie might have changed, but the city hasn't, and I think he knows it. Hell, so do you. 1.5 kilometers is actually not that far, but... Heaven forbid I don't drive on the right side of the road. Let me in!
This elevator is out of order. Sorry.
If it's out of order, why are you here? Out of order for Carrie Eurodyne's guests, too? He's expecting me.
In that case, enjoy your evening.
I'm curious if there's more than Carrie available, but...
I don't know you, so let's keep it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Osprex and Carrie Eurodyne.
I was wondering if this is gonna happen.
Thank you, dears.
Carrie, great to see you so on top of your game. You and
electrifying. They asked me to lay down a new track with them. The rest is rock history.
Gary, gotta say you look great. But it wasn't that long ago you were feeling the pressure.
Did I say that? Goes to show you, you shouldn't trust a word that comes out of my mouth. Sweet little lie. Only way I can get at the truth.
Now, how by this
Hey! This is V, my, right hand. V's the little bird that shows up when I gotta wrap up and run. Sorry.
V, quick question. What's it like hanging with Carrie Uridine, a living legend?
No comment.
Thanks, but I really gotta run. Late for my next thing already. Let's go. Unless you feel like giving a few more interviews.
Love at first sight, huh?
Many different kind of loving and different beginning.
Hey, come with me. I want you to meet some. V. Spectre. His old friend. Met him walking in Memphis. Off beat. Ages ago.
Hey.
He's got premium stuff. Give your friends and family discounts, too.
Of course, Mr. Uridine. Special rate for your friends.
I'll be back later. We'll talk biz.
Sure thing.
Come with me. Want to show you something.
Congrats, Care. Decent show. Now that that's behind us, what's Carrie Uridine's next mission? Hit on Kovacek?
Very funny. But yeah, not about to let him get away with it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But the bastard's gonna regret making me sign those papers.
You try to get out of that deal with the label?
Let's be real. Say I break contract. Then what? Who's gonna release my new tracks? Who's gonna deal with distribution, promotion, influencers, media? Labels have got them all in their pockets. You're out with them, you're out, period.
Well, you'd be free.
Seriously? Free to sing until you're blue in the face, nobody hearing a thing? It's just another kind of cage. Show you one of my favorite spots in Night City.
Are you trying
Don't
to
come
seduce
here
me,
often,
Mr.
when I do,
Uridine?
It's important.
Should I feel special?
Maybe. Told him to shut the place down for the day. Can't get enough of this view. Love looking at this city from above. Well?
Only place you fall asleep thinking you're special, then wake up knowing you're no one.
Where the hell is he?
Carrie, I can see something's eating you.
Keep thinking about our conversation at Caliente.
Us cracks, you and the slaves to the corpo grind.
Guess I wasn't completely honest with you. Or myself, for that matter.
Talk to me.
See, thought I was afraid everybody'd think me another corpo slave. But I was just afraid I'd be in someone's shadow again.
Again?
Lived in Johnny's for years. Part of the scenery, machinery. Helping him shine brighter. Never believed I'd make it on my own without Silverhand.
That why he left Samurai? Fuck.
But you did make it. Big, too. Only diehards remember Samurai now. You. Everybody knows your name.
You think that changes anything? Wake up with the same thought every damn day. That I might somehow fade into this town's steam, stench, murk. For good. Night City's a city of shadows. Done everything I could to walk clear of them for years. Fuck.
It's time you stop being afraid. You don't need to be.
Think you can drive the shadows away?
You'll be fine. Without me, too.
Fuck. Yeah, I sure hope so.
We should get back. Everyone downstairs is waiting. For you.
I know. In to knock back a few to this town tonight. And me in it. But I'm gonna stay up here a bit longer. You go ahead.
Okay. See ya.
Yeah, it's funny, like maybe it's because I'm doing these missions all at once, but like at least the romance with Panam felt kind of like a natural progression. Like actually, you know what? It's not just that the now that I remember what the Panam experience was like, there was some like build up to it. She'd sort of said, you know, I'm always scared, you know, I'm just going to follow the impulse and ruin this. And you sort of give her permission. So there is like that build up. Whereas that one is just sort of like, you know, oh yeah, here's your reward for the mission. But again, maybe if I played this a little bit differently, like obviously here I'm just sort of careening to the next mission, I might have felt a little differently on it. Let's do the NCPD mission, and then I'll get another rest. Archive conversation. Toro Inagaki and Ryohira. They kidnapped me in the trunk of the car. Damn it, I told you about the contract out on you. Told you to leave. Help me. I'm locating you. Who grabbed you? Fuck. Not now, please. Did you get a location? Yes, Japantown. Sending boys. You must be careful. Right. Alright. Where's the closest apartment? All right, this works. I mean, Panam, you better hurry up, otherwise, you know, I'm trading up to carry. Actually, Hexadecimal, I don't think I ever asked you what background you play. Are you? It was street background, right? I don't know why I think that. I might just be assuming it. Okay, cool. I know. I kind of felt destined to be the corporate character from from the second that was an option, but I'm always kind of curious. I will actually say I think I like the I definitely don't regret the corporate introduction, but I definitely think I definitely feel the Jackie introduction for the street character is the most interesting. Oops. Oh, there's no way I'm getting back up there. Yeah, Nomad. I think Nomad you meet Jackie as like a smuggler, which is like, it's okay. I don't mind it. You definitely get to see more of the Badlands earlier, which I think is a nice feature. But yeah, I do find the corporate characters... Oh, you're a Nomad both times. Okay, interesting. So yeah, the Street Kid is an interesting one. I think you see Padre earlier. But yeah, the street one's kind of interesting because you meet Jackie like trying to steal, like you're both trying to steal the same car, and you actually have an encounter with the police, which I think does a really good job of sort of setting the tone. And, you know, again, like obviously each of those openings has a different perspective on the world, right? Like, yeah, if you're a street character, you're gonna have very different interactions with the police than if you're someone in the existing power structure, right? Like if you're Arasaka corporate, you know, chances are your NCPD encounters are gonna be a bit different. So I think, you know, there's something kind of interesting about that. But on the other hand, one small gripe I have about it is I kind of wish it was a little bit more than just the... Well, okay, it is technically more than just the like opening segment that you get. Like you do get different dialogue options in that, but it does feel like the origins are a bit... It feels like there could have been maybe a little bit more with it.
Incumbent Weldon Holt of the Devolutionist Party received a paltry 27.2% of the vote. His campaign floundered following charges filed against him in a murder investigation of Lucius Rhine, former mayor of Night City. Federalist candidate Jefferson Peralez won a resounding victory with 70.7% of the vote. In his concession speech, Mayor Holt offered his congratulations to the victor. Now we see whether Peralez will be able to realize his ambitious campaign promises after the break.
Hey, no pushing. There's enough for everyone. All brand new.
I did. I've played... Or do you mean the tabletop game or the sort of CRPGs that Harebrained Schemes put out, like Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, Shadowrun Hong Kong?
Pan Am, hey.
Yeah, I really like them. I was a Kickstarter backer on
Hello, V.
At least Hong
And
Kong.
how is that?
Again, I'm assuming the conversation's the exact same.
Ugh.
I'm starting to feel that stress go away.
You have an RPG book, never got to play it when you were a kid. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the challenges for me is that, you know, tabletop RPGs are like discrimination against the lonely. But yeah, no, I like the only real catch that I run into with the Shadowrun games are that, like, Shadowrun Returns was them like doing a Kickstarter. There's no assurance whatsoever that there would be an audience or market for that that game, and so it's much smaller than the follow-ups. Dragonfall is something really special. If I recall correctly, that was originally a stretch goal for the original. And then
I have no idea how much I needed that.
I really like Hong Kong. I can see, to me, like the difference between Hong Kong and Dragonfall would be more
It's been
like,
a long day.
What's your particular preference? Like, I think for the most part, like Hong Kong has the better cyberspace mechanics, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's like the better game. Oh, that's a shame. But yeah, no, I really like the Shadowrun games. And actually, I will say, I don't know if you're looking forward to Traveling at Night, but I do happen to know that that Traveling at Night is actually it is inspired partly by the Shadowrun CRPGs. So, but yeah, no, I honestly like, so the only thing for me is that because Shadowrun Returns was the first one, it's tricky because when you play video games, like, you know, you don't need to remake the game every single time you do it. So the drawback there is that, like, if you, so like, I don't know, I'll even though I haven't played it, like, I feel like this is a common experience. Like, some people love The Witcher 3. Traveling at Night is the CRPG that's coming out from Weather Factory. It's basically a CRPG set in the Cultist Simulator Book of Hours universe. And like Disco Elysium is one thing that they are inspired by, in the sense of doing like a combat-less RPG. But I know some people get quite touchy about Disco Elysium's successors. So like they feel enabled by the success of something like Disco Elysium in terms of being able to try and do something new, but it's not it's not like a Disco clone. There's like, 7 games, it feels like, trying to take the mantle of Disco Elysium, and as far as they're concerned, they're doing their own thing, but wanting to obviously acknowledge their interests. But anyways, yeah, so the funny thing about Shadowrun Return, like the view that I take on this one is that it's really good. One of the common experiences that I feel comes up for people is, sorry, I'm just going to take a minute to, maybe I do EMP? Yeah, why not? So some people have sort of talked about, like, they really like the Witcher 3, and then they decided, okay, I'm now gonna go from like Witcher 1 and work my way up to Witcher 3, and then they actually do it and find out they do not like the first Witcher at all. It doesn't have any of the things that they liked about the third game. And like, it feels like work rather than I'm really excited by this thing. And like, oh.
Carrie, hey. Drop whatever you're doing. Meet me at the marina. Don't make me wait.
Say no more. On my way.
In for a real treat, V. Night City Marina, Pier 4.
Slight change of plans. Waiting on an important delivery, and the fucking gonk's late. Be at the marina at 7 p.m. But yeah, so the drawback here is, like, clearly The Witcher was successful enough for them to make a second game, and the second game was successful enough to make the third game, which is the one that everybody really likes. Yikes. So it's not to suggest that, like, The Witcher's a bad game or something like that. It's from what I've actually, I'll be honest, I haven't heard anyone say, "Oh, I really love playing the first Witcher game." Now again, that could be I have a very limited sample size. You know, I know a lot of people who think The Witcher 3 is like one of, if not the best game ever made. But I don't hear a lot of people defending Witcher, the original Witcher game. Excuse me. So the drawback here, right, is that I can't tell someone. So, like, if I knew that they would, like, really enjoy Shadowrun Hong Kong, let's say, my recommendation would be start with Shadowrun Returns, then play Dragonfall, then play Shadowrun Hong Kong, because that way you're going to be able to work your way up to and see all the improvements that they add to the game, rather than be like, play Shadowrun Hong Kong and then wonder why, like, hacking isn't as interesting in Dragonfall, and then wonder why the story isn't as big in Shadowrun Returns, right? Like, the going in history doesn't necessarily enhance the experience, although I think Dragonfall is still a really, really good game. But, like, on the other hand, right, I don't exactly feel good telling people it's like, well, in order to really appreciate Hong Kong, you know, you need to play 2 full games. So, you know, that, you know, in the end, I largely just kind of put the stakes out there, which is to say that, like, if this seems like your kind of thing, it might not be a bad idea to just start with Returns, knowing that it's sort of the most primitive version of Shadowrun you'll probably play. And if you're on the fence, if it seems like your kind of game but you don't want to spend, like, a whole lot of time on it, then, like, obviously play either Dragonfall or Hong Kong and then make up your mind from that. Like, I definitely don't mind Returns. I just think, like, Dragonfall and Hong Kong are just strictly better because they were able to make Returns and more.
Hey there, scallywag.
And that's just a, you know,
Here to come board?
That's basically just a statement of the fact that they're able to build on the great foundation of Returns.
Up for a cruise around the bay? Kicking it with old Carrie?
What's the occasion?
New beginnings and life's loops.
Life's loops?
V, please don't make me ruin the surprise. You coming or not?
Okay, yeah. Sounds promising. I'm in.
Music to my fucking ears. Off we go. Now if I can find that button to raise them. Dad, fuck it. Samurai. All ahead.
The focus feels off a little bit. Maybe not.
Is that your song? Don't recognize it.
'Cause it's new. Riff's been bouncing around my skull for a while now. I feel like I'm onto something really special here.
Nice axe.
It's a Lancaster, custom built. Only 5 ever made in this series. I got one. Militech Chief's got another. The other 3, fuck if I know. It's tailored with a reverse polarity pickup, ebony frets, and one silky smooth Kaimar vibrato. And see this rusty color on the strings? Supposed to be the blood of legendary bluesman Dennis Ford himself.
Dennis Ford?
Okay, so let me hear what this is all about.
Like I said, life's loops.
Breakfast cereal?
No. Loops. Cycles. One chapter ends, another begins. Life's full of them. At least my guru tells me so.
Your guru?
Yeah. I got spiritual needs. Visit Kian every couple of years. He's got this yurt in Tangland. Middle of fucking nowhere. Off-grid, net blockers included. Our last meet, Keon told me that time for closure, loop completion, had come. That's why we're here. You and me.
This, closure. Got anything to do with Johnny? With you battling shadows?
Nah. No, maybe a bit. Because, you know, managed well without him. Built my career. Made my fortune. Me. But damn it, no matter how hard I try, I can't forget him. Yeah. I'd rip him out of my head if I fucking could.
I think I know the feeling. I'll bite. Tell me about these loops.
Okay. So, first tune I ever wrote that was worth a damn, I wrote at sea. And you notice? Fingers are on to something fresh again today. There's a loop for you.
What was that little number? I know it.
Bleed the Beat. Wrote it during a cruise ship game. Decks, pools, more pools, buffets, shrimp, you know, bells and whistles. Everybody thinks the song's about sticking it to corporal fascistas.
But actually, it's...
Didn't just make music on that boat. Busted my ass. Serving drinks, waiting tables. Free time, I composed till my fingers bled. Had to watch out not to stain their precious porcelain. And there it is. A song about bleeding in service of the rich. People hear what they want to hear, though. But man, was that a hit. One of Samurai's biggest. Just like this one will be. Fresh, raw, real.
You need company for that?
Not just your company. I needed you, V. Been thinking about that Us Cracks fiasco lately. About how you helped me. A lot. You shake things up, V. Make me feel... I mean, before you came along, I was stuck in the mud. Scared of my own shadow, even.
And now?
Got me thinking about a new song. A new album, even. Real fucking thrasher with a new soul. Like everything from now on. Had what I think folks call an epiphany.
Could just be what folks call maturity.
You'll see. No more mayhem, no more shady-ass schemes. Done with that. Well, starting tomorrow.
I don't want to skip the travel, but I have a feeling we might be waiting a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to take a little break, though.
All right. Now for a breath of freedom. You gonna fucking help me? Or just stand there like a gonk?
Chaos and destruction. Why the fuck not?
Grab something heavy.
And no regrets after owning a trashed yacht.
My yacht? Honestly think I'd name my boat Samurai. Fuck.
Whose the fuck is it?
Leadhead motherfucker, LB Kovacek.
Kovacek. That Kovacek.
Mm-hmm. Never got a chance to properly thank him for the us crack shit and a few other things. Do something and smash it. This one's on LB.
Okay, let's rip this boat to shreds.
Well, well. Finally ready to party.
Either he's gone senile or he's finally wisened the fuck up. Could be either.
Really? You'd think some of this stuff I could break.
Give me a hand with this motherfucker.
Now kiss.
No, thanks, V. I'm alright. Still got a little left in you?
Remember when you woke up in that scrapyard? That's where he is now, being reborn with fuck all to stop it.
It's time for the grand finale. Do the honors, V.
Baptism by fire and water. A fucking man.
To settling scores.
Well fucking said. Suck on this, Kovacek. Race you to the beach.
I probably should have seen it coming, but honestly, I did like that. It's like, you think I'd call my own boat Samurai?
Think I ought to start using my own pool more often. Come here, kid.
I ain't no kid.
Just hold your breath a little ways. Reeks something real.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Somebody has to have seen the smoke by now. If the Samurai sails another day, I'm gonna rip my hair out. I think I should have loaded more barrels. I'll come with Black Market C6. What do you think? Never mind. You?
Gotta admit, not bad.
It was fucking wild. That's what I need.
Settle that score.
To mark a new beginning. Thanks, V. Ah, hell of a night, huh? Felt like Samurai's first few gigs. A little sloppy granted, but the energy was fucking raw.
Nice twist of events. I gotta admit.
Alright, let's get out of here before the wind flips and we get flooded by that stench. Need a ride?
Of course I do.
Come on then.
All right, let's. I'm gonna get back to my apartment. I think what I'll do here is I'll give it a rest, another 12 hours, see if something comes up. If it doesn't, then that will mark my that'll mark my my start for Nocturne Op 55N1. I mean, the funny thing is, if it turns out to be a really short mission, then that means, you know, next week's gonna be a bit of an awkward stream. But I don't know. Like, I'd rather not start the final mission, or at least the one that they warned me, you know, settle your business mission. Yeah, I'd rather not start that, like, when I'm kind of ready to go to bed. I also have some Outlast Trials missions to finish before I go to bed, so... And I sadly didn't have dinner, so I may not, like, make a dinner at, you know, 1 a.m., but at least a snack might be nice. Anything that doesn't involve me ordering in again. Hey V, you see the news? I'm sort of messaging just to brag about my prize, but also to say thanks. This piece couldn't have happened without you. Okay, I'll admit, mostly I wanted to brag. Happy for you, Nance. But yeah, so this sort of, like, this sort of stuff I'm happy to get, like, before starting the last mission. Not quite what I had in mind. I do have, like, the secondary jump, right? But I think it doesn't let me do that for a stupid move like that.
Huh?
So now that I know I can't leap from tall buildings without consequence, let's follow the directions. Woo! Wait, who's firing? You know what? I'm at fault there. Run for your lives, the maniac's on the loose! Ah! Ah! Look out! Help! Oh no! Okay, apparently I can't read the message. Okay. Every time I go to bed, I'm like, oh, that seems like such a good idea right now. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so if I don't get anything else in my phone, that's going to suggest to me that I'm ready. I'm ready for the finale. Man, I did this so that I could clear my log. That, yeah, all right. It's not like I want to do another session. I think there's been like 5 sessions where it's the exact same dialogue, so I do need to remember that dialing doesn't translate into clearing something. Mostly, I just want to say, you know, hey, I wish we could hang out, so that way if I die in the finale, she can feel, like, haunted by the fact that she said no. Yeah, I'm not gonna play the last mission tonight, Hexadecimal, so I'll drive to it, but I'm not actually gonna play it tonight. I may take a quick look at the wiki just to see, see if there's anything major that I'm missing out on. Because like the big one for me is that it does feel like the rogue storyline sort of had this unresolved element to it, which may be intentional, but it does feel a little funny. So, and actually on that note, I'm good to wrap up. You can't leave. I'm quitting. No. Yeah, so I'm going to... I'll maybe take a quick peek to see if there's anything that I'm missing, but I think next week I will do what I'm assuming is the final mission. At the very least, it says, like, this is a point of no return, you know, finish your business before doing it. This is... a slight complaint I have about the way that it's set up is that if you, like, to me, if you communicate that but then don't tell people, like, whether or not there's anything else to do, it sort of creates this weird situation where I'm, like, advancing time 12, 24 hours just to make sure I'm not missing out on stuff. And it's like, surely there's a more efficient way of doing that, but I don't know, I'm probably just complaining for no reason. As for the rest of the week, I know I keep saying, like, I don't want to do Outlast Trials, but it is really convenient when I have things like, you know, 3-hour commutes to work. So I don't have a lot of reasons to do Outlast Trials, but of course, if I need it, I always reserve the option to do so. My intention is to do more Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop if I can, but I also have a couple of other like little fun ones to hop into. Some stuff I've done on the stream before that I don't know. I don't even think anybody remembers me playing it, but anyways, I am going to leave you in Will Shan's capable hands. I'm gonna get a little something to eat and then probably do a bit of Outlast Trials before I turn in for the night. So, thank you very much for watching. I know there's going to be a little bit of time while it queues up Mr. Shan's stream. And yeah, I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you Monday for more System Chalk stream, most likely Uncle Chop. Until then, take care.